Tonight, the race to rebuild Ontario's struggling Liberal Party takes shape.
We have a Liberal Party in third place in desperate need of generational and serious renewal.
The federal Liberal becoming the first candidate to say they're ready to lead the third-place provincial party, and the well-known GTA mayor strongly considering joining the race.
Unfortunately, this was not the right target. They shot the wrong person.
Plus, new details from York Regional Police about a drive-by shooting in Schaumburg, why police now think the 65-year-old victim was mistakenly targeted this past winter.
Our government, those in charge, need to pay attention to what we're saying.
And the pro hockey family, in a movement to restrict sports gambling advertising, will show you where they're directing their aim. Good evening, I'm Chris Glover with the Ontario Liberals left in disarray after the last two provincial elections. They are looking for a game changer right now, and the race for their leadership is officially on. Liberal MP Nathaniel Erskine-Smith, the first to announce at a packed event in Scarborough this evening. Patrick Swadden was there for us, and he joins us now live from Queen's Park. So, Patrick, Erskine-Smith doesn't yet have a seat in that building behind you, but the federal politician certainly seems to have a lot of energy behind him leading the provincial party. What did you find tonight?
Well, Chris, I can certainly tell you there was a lot of energy in the building in Scarborough earlier this evening. Erskine-Smith, lots of people showing up to show support for him. Now, Erskine-Smith is the only candidate to have announced his bid for the Liberal leadership race at this point, but there are several high-profile contenders that are mulling a bid. Now, Chris, as you know, regardless of who the Liberals choose later this year, given the last two elections, they're going to face an uphill battle.
I'm Nate Erskine-Smith, and I'm running for the Ontario Liberal leadership.
A warm Scarborough welcome for the first candidate vying for Ontario's Liberal leadership. Beach's East York MP Nate Erskine-Smith is leaving a party in power to rebuild one left without party status after the last two provincial elections. But Erskine-Smith says that's just where his current party was 10 years ago.
We have a Liberal Party in third place in desperate need of generational and serious renewal.
Erskine-Smith says he's eager to take on Ford's government at Queen's Park.
It's an entire lack of competence, whether it's healthcare, whether it's housing. But it's not just about competence. What do we want in our government? I want competence, I want compassion, and I want integrity.
Erskine-Smith says his platform will focus on many of the same issues as Toronto's mayoral race, primarily housing. He says he'll also be focused on the labor shortages in healthcare and education, the opiate crisis, and climate change. So far he doesn't, but he will face competition for the leadership. A source confirmed to CBC News that Mississauga Mayor Bonnie Crombie is seriously considering a run, while other names eyeing the leadership include current MPPs Stephanie Bowman, Ted Hsu, and Adil Shamji. Party strategist David Hurley says building a coalition to rebuild the party will be important for any candidate.
But the real meat of these things is on-the-ground organization. Is he able to build that network of people across the province?
But the big test will be connecting with voters, something he says leaders had trouble doing in the last two elections.
That's what the Liberal Party needs, is somebody that can get the public excited about, hey, it's a new Liberal Party and they've got something new to say, and it's an interesting thing to say, and I like the person who is saying it.
Now, Chris, Erskine-Smith has said that he does not plan to run for the run in the by-election for the seat that Mitzi Hunter is going to vacate, so that she can run for Toronto mayor. Pardon me. He's saying that he would rather travel around the province and gin up support for this leadership bid. Now, the Liberals are going to select a new leader on December 2nd, and the deadline to enter that race is going to be in early September, rather. Chris?
All right, Patrick, thank you very much. And coming up in a few minutes on the show, from provincial politics, we'll head to local politics, and we'll be zeroing in on transit and traffic. We'll look at what candidates are hoping to pledge to Torontonians as they look to replace that mayor's seat. That's all coming your way in about 10 minutes. In York Region tonight, though, police releasing new details about a drive-by shooting that happened back in February. A 65-year-old man was seriously injured not far from his home in Schaumburg. Police originally said the shooting was a random act of violence, but now investigators believe it was a case of mistaken identity. Greg Ross has the details.
New evidence suggests that the suspects in this drive-by shooting did actually target the 65-year-old victim, who is still recovering from his injuries. But police believe the suspects had the wrong person and that the victim was not the intended target. It happened back on February 12th. The victim was out walking his dog early that morning when he saw a white Lexus SUV speeding down the road. According to police, the man gestured at the driver of the SUV to slow down. Moments later, the SUV returned and the occupants shot the man several times. Police originally thought that the man gesturing at the vehicle was the motive for the shooting, but evidence uncovered during the investigation and information provided by witnesses suggests otherwise.
The investigators have been working tirelessly since day one. And in the course of doing their investigation, they've spoken to witnesses, they've combed through evidence, they've looked at video surveillance, and they've followed tips that have come in from the public. And as a result of a combination of things, they've been able to determine that this in fact was a targeted shooting, that the suspects had intended to shoot someone in that area. Unfortunately, this was not the right target. They shot the wrong person.
Through conversations with witnesses, police have been able to create these composite sketches of the two suspects believed to be responsible. They have also released this video of the vehicle used, a white Lexus RX 350, license plate CXAK183. It had been reported stolen out of Toronto back in January. Anyone with information about the suspects or the vehicle is asked to contact York Regional Police. Greg Ross, CBC News, Aurora.
Staying in York, police are looking for 3 suspects in connection to a hate-motivated attack in Vaughan over the weekend. The incident happened at around 8:30 Saturday night outside the LCBO at Jane and Major Mackenzie. Police say the suspects used homophobic slurs before things got violent.
One of the males made a comment to one of the victims, commenting about his choice in alcohol purchase, and made a comment about the container that it was coming in. It had some rainbow colors on it, I guess you could say. That suspect approached the victim, and then the woman who was with the male victim stepped between them and tried to intervene, and she was then assaulted.
Police have released these images of one of the suspects. He's described as a white man between 25 and 35 with a short buzz cut and tattoos on his jawline and hands. The second suspect is described as a male with black hair, black beard, and wearing a Cristiano Ronaldo jersey. The third suspect is only described as a male, and police say they fled the scene in a black Nissan Rogue after somebody nearby intervened. And in Peel Region, 2 men were sentenced today in a hate-motivated assault. The Korhamzik brothers were charged with the 2018 beating of Mohammed Abu Marzouk and another man who'd been picnicking with their families in a Mississauga park. Ali Chiasson was at the Brampton courthouse today, where the sentencing took place.
I would like to thank everyone who support me, who support my family, who stand beside me.
After 5 long years of recovery and court appearances, Mohammed Abu Marzouk's family has some closure.
And I don't wish anyone to go through what me and my family went through.
Today in a Brampton courtroom, the men who nearly beat Abu Marzouk to death were sentenced to 6 years in prison and taken into custody. Yanis and Adam Korhamzik were 19 and 27 at the time of the assault. In July 2018, they jumped Abu Marzouk in a parking lot outside a community center in Mississauga. The younger of the 2 brothers knocked him to the ground. Abu Marzouk was repeatedly kicked in the head and suffered a traumatic brain injury. His friend, Fouad Youssel, was also beaten when he attempted to intervene. Justice Fletcher Dawson went over the aggravating factors that went into ruling the 6-year prison sentence. Quote, "The assault happened in front of his children, his head was targeted, and the anti-Arab hate-based rhetoric." The Korhamziks themselves are Muslim. But as Justice Dawson pointed out, that doesn't exempt them from being fueled by hate. Yanis was uttering a full range of anti-Arab slurs. It is wrong to say there is no evidence of this serious aggravating factor.
The judge made a point of noting the hate motivation behind this crime. It's something that I think was very much welcome because it was clearly an aggravating factor in the viciousness of the crime, as well as in terms of the lasting impact of a crime like this, not just on the family, but on the community more broadly.
Even though 6 years is less than the maximum 14 for an aggravated assault conviction, members of the Abu Marzouk family say they're glad to put this behind them and move on.
We thank God and thank Allah to the justice has been served.
I am a true believer of the system, and I'm happy that justice has been served. And it's a chapter in my life I try to close.
Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Brampton.
All right, back to Toronto now. Here's a live look at the skyline. 12 degrees tonight and a nice clear sky out there. Colette joining us now for a first look at the forecast. And Colette, a nice day today, and it's really shaping up to be a nice week as well.
Yeah, Chris, thank you. Our early spring was cool and it was wet, and now here is the payoff as we're looking at the conditions this week. Now, we did have some cloud cover that developed into the afternoon hours with the lake breeze. That kind of provided that. It was higher, thin cloud, however, but it did keep temperatures down closer to Lake Ontario. You get away from the lake, and they were milder, like Peterborough at 17 and Kitchener the same. London 18 and Windsor are hot spot at 19 degrees this afternoon with lots of sunshine there. So with this ridge of high pressure in place, it means clear skies for us tonight. Even as systems try and push towards us, it's a pretty strong feature. So you're going to find any showers either going around or actually evaporating into the drier air that's in place. So for tomorrow, lots of sun, perhaps a little bit of fair weather cloud developing into the afternoon, and the temperatures to go along with it. We're looking at 7 degrees tonight and tomorrow above seasonal, Chris, with a high of 22 degrees.
Time to hit the beach. Thanks, Colette. All right, turning now to the mayoral by-election, and transit in Scarborough is certainly shaping up to be a major issue in the race to lead Toronto. Today, some of the candidates rolled out their plans for the area soon to lose the Scarborough RT. Meg Roberts explains the promises.
For far too long, Scarborough residents have been ignored, they've been left behind, and they've been mistreated when it comes to the basic ability to get around.
Mayoral candidate Josh Matlow announcing his plans for transit in the East End today.
As mayor, I am determined to ensure that Scarborough residents get the respect they deserve and the transit that they need.
His plan includes a $1.2 billion network of public transit lines and trails for the area that will connect Scarborough from Victoria Park to the Rouge. It also includes converting the Scarborough RT to a busway once the line is decommissioned this fall. City staff are recommending priority bus lanes, which is less of a cost but may be inconvenient for riders.
If the Scarborough RT corridor gets turned into a busway, people will save 10 minutes in each direction compared to shuttle buses on the street.
The Scarborough RT has become a hot topic on the campaign trail. Mayoral candidate Anthony Peruzza also announcing today he will put a motion to council to fund the busway.
It's time for downtown councillors to stop screwing around with Scarborough. Every time it comes to Scarborough, there's never enough money. There's always more conversation, more study, more delay.
The deputy mayor tweeting this out, saying all city councillors representing Scarborough have publicly confirmed their support for converting the Scarborough RT to a busway once it's decommissioned.
It's what so many Scarborough riders depend upon.
The promises from politicians, this Scarborough resident says he's heard before.
We can't wait around for another, 5 years debating, what kind of buses do we use? What kind of tarmac do we use? We know that a busway will work. We just need to start building it.
Scarborough Transit will be on the agenda when City Council meets starting tomorrow. Council could approve a priority busway to replace the SRT by the end of the week. Meg Roberts, CBC News, Toronto.
And candidate Anna Bailau continuing her theme of keeping traffic in Toronto moving.
I'm going to get tough on rush hour, ticket, and tow. Rush hour blitzes have been very successful. I will be making them permanent.
All right, so Bai Lau saying she will bring in 20 additional tow trucks that will be ready to tow cars that block rush hour traffic. As well, she says she will increase fines for illegally parked cars. Mark Saunders, meanwhile, says he also wants to ease congestion, and he'll start by removing bike lanes from major streets.
There are so many secondary streets where we can put those bike lanes and allow that accessibility where it's not hurting businesses.
Saunders says he would start by scrapping the bike lanes on University Avenue, reverse the decision to make the Yonge Street bike lanes permanent, and deprioritize the Bloor Street West bike lane expansion. The plan is similar to one outlined by candidate Anthony Furey last month. Furey accused Saunders of being a copycat today. Mitzi Hunter providing more details today about her plan to create a Toronto Affordable Housing Corporation.
In its first phase, which is projected to last 6 years, the TAHC will build 108 new developments with city-owned land. These are communities for families.
And so Hunter says that first phase of the project will see more than 20,000 units created, providing homes for more than 50,000 people. Welcome back. There is concern growing tonight from some within the sporting world about the abundance of gambling ads. And this kind of advertising at pro sports has become more prevalent since the provincial government allowed independent gambling sites last year. Tyler Cheese has more on why some are now worrying it's all too much.
During last Tuesday's Leafs game, viewers watched almost 8.5 minutes of sports gambling ads.
That included a number of 30-second TV commercials as well as several on-screen sponsorships. It's left Carl Subban, father to 3 pro hockey players, questioning the effect it's having on viewers, especially kids.
It's a big problem. What I see now is that a lot of the marketing is focusing on grabbing the attention of the most vulnerable, the youngest of our population.
He's speaking for Ban Ads for Gambling, a campaign advocating for the restriction of ads that promote online betting and gaming. He's also questioning the use of celebrities and athletes in the ads.
When I turn on the television, I don't want to see the likeness of some athlete or celebrity there speaking about gambling in a positive way. Our government, those in charge, need to pay attention to what we're saying. Because it's either you pay attention today or you pay dearly tomorrow.
The Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario does place some restrictions on gambling advertisements, and it's currently considering a ban on the use of celebrities. But experts say an all-out ban is what's needed to combat gambling addiction.
We have collected data showing, and this is something that players are reporting to us, that the advertisement is impacting their behavior. So it's pushing them to gamble, but it's also pushing them in some instances to gamble more.
Some say the brands should stick to advertising online where they can be more targeted and responsible.
The second you go on TV or newspaper or mass media, you're basically saying my product is for anyone and everyone. And that's why we've seen restrictions in the past on alcohol, we've seen it on tobacco, cannabis.
The Alcohol and Gaming Commission is engaging stakeholders until May 15th before making a decision on the celebrity ban. Tyler Cheese, CBC News, Toronto.
The Leafs held practice today in preparation for Game 4 tomorrow in Sunrise, Florida, and the odds of coming back from a 3-0 loss are not in their favor, but the key message from the team: focus on one game at a time.
Just go out there and play hockey. I mean, that's what we've been doing our whole life. You know, can't really focus too much on the outside noise, what you guys are saying, what everybody's saying. I mean, it doesn't really matter. All we can focus on is how we approach this game and the mental side of it, and coming in with a purpose and focusing on just one game here coming in.
Well, here's a fact. If the Leafs want to claw their way back in the series, they're going to need their big stars to step up their offense. None of them have scored in the series, and Game 4 goes tomorrow at 7 p.m. At least it'll be nice weather tomorrow for fans at the tailgate party at Maple Leaf Square. Colette, nice all week, really. Tee it up for us.
Well, you know, Chris, when we get into a weather pattern like this where things are pretty stable, it means I have to get a little bit creative in terms of how I'm discussing things because there just aren't a lot of features or active weather to talk about. So let's talk about getting to know high pressure. All right, this isn't just a quick meet and greet. This is a chance to really have a deep conversation because we're going to see this high pressure in place through the week. It's very stable air, sinking, dry conditions, and that means everyone's favorite party guest will be here. Sunshine, unlike rain, comes in, maybe doesn't take shoes off, leaves mud puddles. No, sunshine coming in, brings you flowers, sends you a thank you note the day after the party. That's what we all want to see, and that's here for this week. Then, looking at the temperature story, okay, today was a little cool in the afternoon with some of those clouds with that lake effect, but we are going to be seeing those temperatures climbing above seasonal. So we do have mild conditions for the next several days as well. So that's why I should really rename the precipitation forecast as well. Anything kind of dives around or dries up in the atmosphere. We get a little bit of fair weather cloud. Now, one feature you may begin to notice this week, because we have some of the smoke from the wildfires in Alberta making their way towards us in the upper atmosphere, that can provide that refraction that gives some pretty brilliant sunsets. So that's something to be looking out for. And of course, we're keeping an eye on our friends there towards the west. Now, as we look into Thursday, still sunshine, had a little bit of cloud into eastern Ontario. This carries on with some clouds building towards Friday. The temperatures, too, we're getting to that kind of thing where we see the cooler temperatures in the overnight, not 7 or 8 a.m., because the sun's coming up now at 6. So by 8 a.m., we're seeing those temperatures bouncing back to double digits, and we warm up more quickly. 22 for tomorrow, Thursday 24, Friday 25. I've put a slim chance on Mother's Day there into the weekend, but at this point, that is all it is, Chris, is a slim chance for seeing some showers.
All right, that's good. Thanks, Colette. Finally tonight, if you've traveled through Union Station, you've no doubt seen all the stages of construction over there, and a big part of the revitalization project, Union Market, well, it opened today to the public.
Union Market is our newest retail development here as part of the revitalization of Union Station. We really wanted to create a community space within the heart of the station for people to come and gather, to explore, to find new vendors, and we've curated a great selection of local businesses and artisans.
And also a collection of culinary experiences with local and international flavors. There are also bakeries, florists, grab-and-go options, and specialty grocery items. A permanent art installation is also located in the market, courtesy of Artworks TO. And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Maribel Tarouk has your next local newscast tomorrow at 6. And we're off the air at 11 because of playoff hockey, but we'll see you back here on Thursday. Have a great night.